Welcome to Rutgers Around the World, a special 6-episode series celebrating the university's international history and its connection with the global community. We bring you this program as part of our 250th anniversary celebration. Hi, I'm Rutgers alum Gabriela Millian.
And I'm Bruno Ferreira, a current Rutgers student. Rutgers maintains these relationships through its Gaia Centers. Gaia stands for Global Advancement and International Affairs. In this premiere episode, we'll focus on Rutgers' relationships around the world.
These international ties offer a wide range of opportunities for students and faculty across Rutgers to collaborate with people and institutions across the globe.
And you might not realize it, but Rutgers has been an international university since the beginning. Here's how.
Hello, Rutgers!
Revolutionary for 250 years.
Every day, tens of thousands of students come here to this intellectual melting pot, where ideas and cultures flow together among what might just be America's most diverse student body.
An echoing theme as Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, celebrates a major milestone in its history.
Happy birthday, Rutgers!
A story that began with its days as Queens College and host to the first college football game in America, and one that continues to unfold with its membership in the ultra-exclusive Big Ten Conference.
It's a touchdown!
And the addition of Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences.
We had a marvelous gift given to us when we were allowed to merge the former University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey into Rutgers University.
There's a lot to be proud of. Rutgers is the 8th oldest college in the United States and is highly ranked among the world's leading 1,000 universities. With 31 schools across 3 major locations and a breadth of course offerings, Rutgers is a research powerhouse and home to award-winning faculty.
We have a tremendous amount to offer in terms of a variety of programming, a variety of student interests, a variety of faculty expertise and activities.
Rutgers educates more than 67,000 students each year from every state in the U.S. and more than 115 countries around the world. And in 2011, it was time to boost Rutgers' international profile.
Initially, it was mainly about international students and maybe students going abroad. Over the years, we have more and more engaged building strategic partnerships, creating service learning programs in a way that it became really a hallmark. The internationalization is part of our DNA now.
The university created the Centers for Global Advancement and International Affairs, or Gaia Centers, to do just that.
There are aspects of our globalization strategy that are central to Rutgers' vision of a global future for our students and the people we interact with.
Though the university formalized its International Affairs Unit, the Gaia Centers, Rutgers' global mindset can be traced back to its roots, across the Atlantic in the Netherlands.
The Dutch Reformed Church founded Rutgers in 1766 as a training place for pastors. So it already was a very globalized institution from its inception.
The Dutch ties were once again in focus when Queens College was renamed Rutgers almost 60 years later, after a prominent philanthropist and colonel.
Henry Rutgers, he's an interesting person. His connection with Rutgers was that as a highly esteemed member of the Dutch Church, he sat on its board of trustees for several years, and he gave the school some money.
And the connection doesn't end there. John Henry Livingston, the university's 4th president, turned to his alma mater, Utrecht University in the Netherlands, when he needed inspiration.
He helped design the seal of Rutgers with a starburst pattern on it, which was similar to the one that they had in Utrecht. He also took the motto and transformed it a little bit, and it became Rutgers' original motto.
The relationship remains strong. Rutgers now has an enriching 2-week honors exchange program with Utrecht, and even commemorated the 250th anniversary with a Rutgers University Glee Club performance at Utrecht.
So on behalf of President Barchi and all of us at Rutgers, we would like to give you this plaque to commemorate 250 years of friendship between your institution and ours.
For more than 100 years, Rutgers was a private men's college that trained ministers for the Dutch Reformed Church. It was this link that paved the way for Rutgers' first international students from Japan.
The Japanese were closed for over 200 years and they were forced open by the United States government. This sparked a huge interest in all things Western. There was a Dutch missionary, Guido Verbeek, who was posted in Japan at the time, and so it was only natural that some of Verbeck's students would start to get interested in coming to the United States. And of course, he recommended Rutgers.
The Yokoi brothers of Kumamoto, Japan, were the first international students to attend Rutgers. They arrived in the U.S. in 1866 without permission from the Japanese government. A year later, a brilliant samurai named Kusakabe Taro followed.
I literally saw myself as an explorer.
He was first in his class here at Rutgers. He was the first Japanese ever elected to Phi Beta Kappa. And tragically, he died a few weeks before his graduation in 1870, and he is buried in the Willow Street Cemetery.
The influx of international students laid the foundation for a global Rutgers, a mission that the Gaia Centers continues to advance through its programs, services, and education opportunities throughout the university.
Many of the opportunities are certainly global opportunities around the world. So we don't want students to be just educated about what goes on in New Jersey. They have to be extremely aware of what goes on beyond the U.S. borders.
Here's undergraduate student and reporter Sienna Jones with more on the Gaia Centers.
Thanks, Gabriella. The Gaia Centers provide opportunities for all members of the Rutgers community to get involved globally, either on campus or abroad. Let's take a look.
What are the Gaia Centers?
Gaia stands for Global Advancement in International Affairs.
The Gaia Center is a comprehensive unit that provides programs on global topics, facilitates international relationships, offers study abroad programs, and provides immigration processes for 7,000 international students and scholars annually.
Thinking about the world in a global sense, not in a local or regional sense. That's what Gaia is all about.
What units make up the Gaia Centers, and what do they do?
The Gaia Centers is currently composed of 3 centers: the Center of Global Programs and Relations, the Center for Global Education, and the Center for Global Services.
The Gaia Centers have as a primary mission to foster internationalization across Rutgers.
What does the Center for Global Programs and Relations do, and how does it affect me?
I think they host events that have to do with international topics. I actually went to one last year that brought a UN alumni to Rutgers. It was very, very informative, and I would definitely go to one again.
The Center for Global Programs and Relations provides a menu of options for students to be globally engaged.
We had actually, about a dozen events that happened throughout the year. Film screenings to panel discussions, distinguished lectures, symposia.
We also connect faculty with each other and with global partners.
Right now we have over 300 active agreements in approximately 60 countries. They cover a range of activities, including research collaboration, faculty and staff exchange.
The biannual theme provides funding to faculty to submit proposals on various themes. In 2015, we launched a 2-year program on the theme of global urbanism. Global urbanism looks at the role of cities and the way they play in shaping the lives of people and cultures.
And the Gaia grants are a way for the Center for Global Programs and Relations to foster international teaching and research at Rutgers.
The grants that the Gaia Center provides faculty are very important because sometimes you have to have a little extra money to be able to do global projects.
The Gaia grants enabled me to make contact with a variety of people working on zoonosis in different contexts.
The Gaia grant has allowed us to pay the costs of the supplies and to basically make it a much higher level training program.
What is the role of the Center for Global Education at the Gaia Centers?
I went through them to study abroad 2 years ago. I went to Italy. It was the best experience of my life.
We have over 160 programs in over 50 countries, both study abroad, service learning programs. They range from academic year and semester programs to short-term programs of 1 week to 6 weeks.
The Center for Global Education is focused on sending students overseas. Undergraduate and graduate students study abroad, basically, and other kinds of international learning opportunities.
I went with a lot of doubts about medical school and what I want to do in the future. Being in India helped clear out my doubts and see what kind of track I want to take in the future.
For our outgoing students, we are advising them on a one-to-one basis, finding the best possible match given their interests. There are certainly scholarships available to make study abroad affordable.
What I miss most about Brazil is
Probably the people that we met while we were down there. You saw the distinctions between Brazilian people and American people. At the same time, like being able to form the bonds with them showed me that despite all of that, we're still one and the same.
Rutgers has a lot of international students and scholars. Who takes care of them while they're here?
Passport, I-20, and your data form.
The Center for Global Services brings students and faculty in and handles all of the very complex visa and immigration issues, gets them oriented, and keeps them informed about what they need to know in order to stay here and be able to complete their studies or their professional work.
Our main responsibility is to assist with their legal status. The most important thing is also to help them assimilate into the population, for which we have various different programs.
Good morning, undergraduate students!
I am very proud to say that our orientation program is known nationally as one of the best orientation programs. When the orientation week gets done, the students still have this desire to want to stay connected and network. And our International Friendship Program is the perfect program. Another program that I'm really very proud of is our International Faculty Scholar Reception. It's a great event for everyone from all over the world. So the reception is a perfect venue for everyone to get to know each other, for them to mingle, network, for us to get to know who we have invited and who is doing what kind of research.
I graduate in a few months, so what kind of skill set would the Gaia Center want to see me leave with?
Students in the future, as they join the workforce, will be involved in many things that take place beyond the borders of the U.S. We want them to have an understanding and an appreciation of global cultures, languages, customs, finance from around the world.
Next, undergraduate student and reporter Tara Reid is here to tell us more about the international initiatives at Rutgers University Camden.
Thanks, Bruno. It's both the programs and the people that make Rutgers University Camden truly international. Rutgers University Camden offers all the benefits of a world-class research institution and the personalized experience of a small campus. And for its more than 6,500 students, many of them commuters who work part-time, the focus at Rutgers Camden is to maximize international exposure through coursework.
Rutgers University Camden's internationalization strategy is a multi-pronged initiative that consists of both research and education components and involves faculty and staff.
Rutgers Camden has over 20 partnerships with international institutions across the globe that lead to opportunities for students.
Dean Robinson, the Chancellor Phoebe Haddon, and myself went to Semmelweis. We signed a formal memorandum of understanding. Our students are going to have an opportunity to work with the physicians in the hospitals in the European Union.
We've had a long-standing relationship with Graz University in Austria, and we every year have a faculty member from Graz visit with us and teach a course, and every year one of our faculty members goes to Graz to teach a course.
We've developed 2+2 programs. The students do 2 years in their host country and then 2 years here, and they end up with a Rutgers degree.
Faculty participate in research and scholarship abroad and bring that knowledge back into the classroom.
I earned a Fulbright Distinguished Chair Award to one of the most prestigious universities in South Korea, Yonsei University. I will say those 6 months, the best 6 months of my whole 25 years of teaching career.
When I came back from my fellowship in Thailand, I used that in many ways in my class, mostly to teach my students how to use perspective of the other in their own filmmaking.
I recently returned from the Central European University, where I received a 6-week fellowship they call an artist residency to participate in an environment with scholars from around the world.
Rutgers Camden's hallmark Learning Abroad program gives about 200 students the opportunity to travel and experience the world each year.
If you've been abroad before, can you raise your hand if you've been out of the country before?
We sponsor every year, I'd say 10 to 15 programs. These are short-term travel experiences, usually over spring break, sometimes in May. and students take these trips as part of a course they're taking.
The first learning abroad program that I participated in was in Iceland, and so the focus of that program really was on art and the landscape. It was just a really beautiful country and a really nice space to be creative.
We tell them that we can only give them a very small taste, but once they get that taste, they want more. And so then we refer them to Gaia for their study abroad trips, because then they can really immerse themselves.
Other programs abroad involve serving communities in other parts of the world.
I have a project in Ghana and then in Brazil in the poor neighborhoods. We really have built a model there for community development and comprehensive services for children.
When my students were up in the Andes Mountains of Bolivia, they helped to plaster and paint the walls because the small crevices have these small mosquitoes that harbor this disease.
We're on a liveaboard boat for 5 days, moving to communities throughout the Amazon and its tributaries. We provide some health care, we engage with the children, and it's 5 days of really getting to understand health care in context in Brazil.
But it's not just going abroad, it's bringing abroad to campus. Rutgers Camden welcomes students from more than 25 countries and hosts events that celebrate this global diversity year-round.
We really take a great deal of pride in our International Education Week celebration. It's a great collaborative effort. And throughout the week we have a series of lectures, as well as contests, an international food festival where students can try out different types of food.
It's all about including every single culture, trying to make the term global village come true for Rutgers Camden, and it is in many ways.
Joining me is the Chancellor of Rutgers University Camden, Phoebe Haddon. Thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So, Chancellor Haddon, what is it about Rutgers University Camden that attracts international students and scholars that are interested in international work?
Well, first is the size of our campus. We're a very small, nurturing research university. That means it gives people the chance to get to know each other, to engage in their research, and to really feel comfortable very quickly.
And what effect does that have on the whole student body, the international aspect?
Well, I think it means that we have the opportunity for students, many of whom are from South Jersey, to get to know the world. They get to know the world through the students that are coming to us from other countries, but also we have some immersive learning courses that are very exceptional. Many of our students are older students and are working students, and it means that they can also engage in programs abroad through a 10-day course. Often the course is located in the spring semester. It's embedded in courses so that each of the students who are engaged in a course will have an opportunity, if it's an immersive learning course, to go abroad. That's an extraordinary opportunity for our students.
Looking forward, how does Rutgers University Camden plan to implement or expand international strategy in the next 5+ years?
Our campus intends to grow over the next 5 years. We'll do that in 2 ways. One is that through our immersive learning program, we will have students visiting over 30 countries now, and hopefully 40 or 50 or so in the future. But we also will enable people to come and be here at Rutgers Camden. And we'll do that through our extensive world-class faculty opportunities that they will have to learn from and with, our research university capabilities, our small location, as well as the opportunity to engage with a very, very diverse population.
And what do you enjoy most about the Rutgers University Camden and the whole international atmosphere?
Well, you know, I think the primary thing is that we are in a great location. We're in South Jersey, which is actually a very, very diverse population and very diverse environments. So the world is actually at the feet of people who come to Rutgers Camden to learn. We're 20 minutes from Philadelphia, a very, very diverse and vibrant city. So we have the opportunity for our students to actually engage in diverse communities there as well, and to interact with other universities. So we have the best of both worlds. We're a small, nurturing university in a small location where people can feel welcome and get to know people very quickly. We have a research focus that enables us to use the city as well as the metropolitan and South Jersey region as a laboratory. And we have the comfort of the world-class faculty as well as a very diverse student body.
Well, thank you so much for all of your work and for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure, as I said earlier.
Thank you. Next, we'll head north from Camden to Newark to explore how Rutgers University Newark provides a global experience. Here's undergraduate student and reporter Preeta Sinha to guide us.
Thanks, Gabriella. Rutgers University Newark has an international flavor that spans coursework, programs, and research. Let's find out how. Rutgers University Newark has long been recognized as one of the most diverse research universities in the United States, a place where the student body has no majority, racial, or ethnic group. The university's extraordinary diversity shapes every aspect of what it does. Its more than 11,000 students, many of whom are first-generation Americans, represent more than 70 countries, making Rutgers Newark a truly global university that echoes the values of the city in which it resides.
The diversity of Rutgers University Newark is in part a consequence of geography. New Jersey has rich and vital immigrant communities.
This local diversity helps students to understand the value of the global perspective when engaged in collaborative service, research, and scholarship.
A lot of what we are trying to do is bring the world to our students one way or another. The ability to identify with someone and to understand where they're coming from is critical to success.
Rutgers University Newark's philosophy of internationalization derives from our identity. We have an international flavor to our campus that drives student activities, that drives curriculum.
We just launched a new international program. It's the Global Executive Online Master of Public Administration program. Students will take classes online from their own places without coming to here.
Global Urban Studies is an interdisciplinary program that focuses on a variety of urban issues and problems and aims to bridge theory and practice so that students can take their knowledge and research out into the world.
And it is this international flavor that makes events like the annual World's Fair and International Education Week favorites.
We host the International Education Week. We do the international cookies, the henna, and the Chinese calligraphy.
Faculty and students are involved in groundbreaking international research that impacts lives all around the world.
We're currently doing locally relevant but internationally recognized research in Palestine.
It focuses on understanding brain function and brain disorders, and it was particularly motivated by the fact that depression is so high rate in the West Bank.
The Center for Migration and the Global City is investigating the experiences and challenges and opportunities of the nation's newest immigrants, the post-1965 wave.
And Rutgers Newark develops ties with institutions, NGOs, and others abroad.
I worked with over 50 different universities.
We have a lot of interesting collaborations with the United Nations and other organizations.
We also have established relationships in places where there's conflicts are ongoing at the moment and there's not enough known about them.
These partnerships result in opportunities for culturally attuned students to go abroad and apply concepts learned in the classroom to create change and be changed in the process.
The research that I did while I was in Cape Town was for STEM education. The work was great, for sure, right? We can make some large impact. But really what changed me was the people.
When you travel abroad and through service learning experiences, you go with the idea of wanting to give back. But when you get there, you realize that a lot of it's being given to you.
We've had a number of students who have come back. They've had this tremendous opportunity in their own lives, and they want to find a way to give back to others who may not have had the opportunity that they had.
At Rutgers Newark, education with an international focus just makes sense in today's world.
And nowadays, in order to be a good citizen, I think it's not enough to simply know about the US. It's also important to know about the global context in which the US is situated.
Globalization is going to generate the next wave of business growth of US companies. You see, more than 95% of consumers are outside the US market. To reach those consumers, we will have to go global.
And members of the Rutgers Newark community agree that their biggest asset in this quest to go global is the students themselves.
As the world becomes more metropolitan, it becomes more like Newark in a certain sense. So we know that the challenges that we address through our research, through our educational programming, is going to resonate not just here in Newark, but around the world.
Joining me is Dr. Jerome Williams, Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost of Rutgers University, Newark. Thank you for being on the program.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Full disclosure, I actually attend Rutgers University, Newark.
Well, looks like I'm in good company.
Now, Dr. Williams, how does Rutgers University, Newark and Newark itself, how does their international diversity impact faculty and their research?
Well, it's very critical because we attract faculty members who are very interested in the diversity of the student population. So the two really go together. And you think of Rutgers Newark as sort of like a microcosm of the world with many people from many different backgrounds, many different views, many different cultures coming together. So it's a natural place for faculty who are interested in conducting research in this area to be. And so we find it easy to attract faculty to come to Newark to engage in the kind of research that's very close to the kind of work that's carried on in the international domain.
And how does it affect your personal research?
Well, I do a lot of work on social justice, and so I look at problems, particularly in the marketplace, and I look for inequities and fairness. And when you think about it, you think about the marketplaces all over the world, there are the same types of situations that occur in the United States and many of these countries. So when we have students coming to Rutgers Newark from all the various countries from around the world, it's an opportunity for me personally to use the student population as a natural laboratory to further investigate these issues and to get different viewpoints.
Could you give us an example on how so?
Yes, like I deal with a lot of work on what we call fairness and the way people are treated based on their characteristics. It may be race, it may be ethnicity, it may be gender, it may be age, and we look at issues of where people are treated differentially because of these factors. And so you look at various countries around the world, we see the same thing. We've conducted research in Singapore and China, South Africa, Kenya, and you see a lot of the same phenomena that occur in the marketplace here occurring there. So I have this opportunity of examining the phenomena here with my students, and at the same time I travel to these countries, and many times I link up with students who have been my students here at Rutgers Newark who help me to access the populations there and to collect data.
And how do you enjoy being at Rutgers University, Newark?
Well, it's been a tremendous experience for me. In fact, one of the main reasons I was attracted to come here was for the diversity. When I had an opportunity to come here and further the kind of research that I do, I looked at the type of student populations and the type of other faculty members who are interested in similar types of research and the opportunity to collaborate with them. It was just really a natural affinity for me to be here.
Thank you, Provost Williams, for being here, and thank you so much for your research.
Well, thank you for having me.
Undergraduate student and reporter Christian Tang is here with some exciting prospects for students at Rutgers University, New Brunswick.
Thanks, Bruno. Students at Rutgers University, New Brunswick are proving that the global experience can begin right here in New Jersey. Rutgers provides students with many opportunities to experience the global, and it goes beyond the classroom. Rutgers New Brunswick houses living learning communities where students can live and breathe global.
When we talk about global appreciation and intercultural awareness, we're really talking about helping our students to become global thinkers.
At Douglas Residential College, students can experience local global connections through a unique residential environment called the Global Village.
The Global Village is a collection of actually close to a dozen living learning communities, all located on Douglas Residential College. The themes recently have included the Human Rights House, and then cultural houses like the Africana House. We know, the problems that we're facing, as well as the solutions, are going to be global in nature. So we want to get our students prepared to think that way.
The importance of an international focus is underscored at other residential communities like the Bush Engineering, Science, and Technology, or BEST Hall, that houses 500 students from pharmacy, engineering, or School of Arts and Sciences with an interest in science.
BEST Hall actually does do a lot of cultural events. So we've accounted for various holidays. Diwali is a big holiday, Lunar New Year. We try to educate our residents about various issues that go on around the world, such as sustainability.
And the Honors College, which opened its doors in September 2015 to 500 students and makes Global a core part of its living learning experience.
We have a handful of students who are coming from actual international backgrounds. Our international students are coming from across East Asia, Southeast Asia, and South Asia, the Middle East. So we really have a fantastic representation. Our mission course, the Honors College Forum, which all incoming students take, is really dedicated to global social innovation and addressing problems on a global scale. One of the things that's very notable about this generation of students is that they're already global and they already think that way. That is to say that they are connected somewhat through their media and their technology, but also in the fact that at a younger age they've been exposed to questions like globalization.
My study abroad program is attached to an interdisciplinary honors seminar called Brazilian Culture, Conquest to Contemporary. So I just feel really lucky to be able to have this opportunity when a lot of other freshmen aren't able to do so. And I think it's kind of indicative of what the Honors College is trying to do, giving us these unique opportunities.
Rutgers students can also immerse themselves in the global through a master's program on the United Nations or other program series designed by the Center for Women's Global Leadership.
I teach a course called Feminist Advocacy at the United Nations, and we take a group of students who learn about the UN and the Commission on the Status of Women that happens every March.
And for international students who play a key role in globalizing these living learning communities, there are programs on campus that provide academic support while celebrating cultural differences.
My new role is as director of the graduate ESL program, and I will have the opportunity to work with program directors, with chairs, to really give these wonderful, amazing international students the opportunity to improve their English academic skills, but also for us to learn from them.
Earlier, I had the opportunity to speak with Rutgers University New Brunswick Chancellor Richard Edwards. Here's what he had to say. Chancellor Edwards, thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
So how does internationalization play a role in your vision for Rutgers New Brunswick?
We live in such a complex world that's everything is global these days. And if we're going to prepare students to go out and take their place in the United States, they're going to have to understand the interplay between our country and other countries, between our culture and other cultures. In addition, New Jersey is the second most diverse state in the nation. And so just here in our own state, people are running into folks from a variety of different cultures. And so the internationalization of our student body, I think, is important as part of the learning experience that we can provide all of our students.
So there are some strategic priorities on campus here at Rutgers New Brunswick that include a global component. And why is this important? And can you give an example of one for our audience?
I think one of the key things in our strategic plan has been improving or enhancing the student experience. And from my perspective, having many international students is one way we can enhance the student experience. But for those international students, we have to do some special things to enhance their experience. So for example, we've put in place a one-week orientation for new international students when they arrive here, but before they enroll in the first semester. And we found that that has made a big difference, helping them to get oriented, to enable them to meet each other, meet people from a variety of countries, but learn some things that they're going to need to know in order to make it here successfully.
So Rutgers has a special relationship with China. Could you tell us about the relationship and where it's shown here on campus and also in China itself?
Sure. We have about 5,600 international students here from all countries, but over half of them, 3,000 plus, are from China. So it's an important place for us. Now we have people from a number of other countries. You might be surprised to know we have 70 plus students from Iraq, from Iran, and from Turkey. International, covers the globe. But with China, since we have so many students from there, we've developed some very deep relationships with certain universities in China. Jilin University, for example, is the largest university in China, and we are their oldest international partner. Our relationship with Jilin goes back to 1979. We've decided to have some in-depth relationship with several Chinese universities rather than have many relationships. Of course, we have memoranda of understanding with hundreds of universities, but probably 7 or 8 in China where we have in-depth. And those.
And what exactly is a memorandum for? Of understanding,
yeah,
yes.
An MOU or memorandum of understanding is a document that's signed that says we'll collaborate, we might send students back and forth or faculty back and forth, that sort of thing. But with places like Jilin, the South China University of Technology, and a variety of others, we have much more extensive relationships. We have 2-2 programs where students do 2 years in China, then come to Rutgers for their final 2 years and get a degree from Rutgers and their home institution. We have 3-2 programs. They do 3 years at their home institution, come here for 2 years and wind up getting their bachelor's degree and a master's degree. We have a Confucius Institute here, and the sister Confucius Institute is at Jilin University in China. And Jilin, by the way, sends us about 30 of their honors chemistry students each year who come over here and spend a semester or 2 semesters working in our chemistry department. So there are lots of relationships like that. What we don't have so much of is our students going to China. And partly that's a matter of language. Not many of our students speak Chinese or Mandarin. And we're working on that, and more Chinese universities are developing programs where all the courses are taught in English that will make it more feasible. So we do have students going on 2-week programs, on short-term kinds of visits, but not nearly as extensive as the number of Chinese students coming here. We'd like to balance that.
So there's definitely a lot to look forward to in the future.
There is.
When it comes to China.
Yes.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us today.
It's really been my pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and be part of this.
Thank you.
We just took a tour around the different university locations.
It's been a fun ride and interesting to learn all that's going on here at Rutgers.
Here with more on our partnerships around the world is Rutgers alum and reporter Aya Hoshia with the story.
Thanks, Bruno. Rutgers Medical and Health Academic Division, known as Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, or RBHS, is working to address global health issues here and abroad.
Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, or RBHS, is New Jersey's leading university-based healthcare provider. And throughout RBHS's 8 schools, 5 centers and institutes, and 1 behavioral health network, the theme of global health echoes loudly.
It's a collaboration between and across countries to address critical health issues. Global health is not only global, it's local. You walk through the units of the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital here, and you hear many languages spoken by patients.
We have 13 different units in RBHS, and each unit more or less have individual faculty involved in the global health arena.
RBHS has developed a global curriculum for its students so that they're equipped to provide culturally sensitive care to anyone, anywhere.
We hope to train a new generation of students to analyze the problems in the global context that are very broad in nature, and the multidisciplinary understanding of health is something we really want to educate our students about.
Dr. Brian Strom, with his strategic plan and initiative for global health, has a vision for Rutgers to be a nation's leader in international health. He's introduced the Global Scholars Program for medical students. They are funded for 4 years for international travel, as well as have direct access to certain mentors around campus that are involved in global health and global surgery work internationally.
Our school also have a student elective, the medical Spanish and medical Mandarin, to teach the student to use different language to interview patients.
We decided to develop a master's course actually also to make our global health education more solid. This is a 45 credits new concentration in public health. This is going to be, I think, an interesting opportunity for students to trained to be able to work in international organizations.
RBHS schools like Robert Wood Johnson Medical School offer fellowships and hold partnerships with about 24 institutions around the world, allowing close to half of its medical students to participate in international rotations and study abroad opportunities.
Our acute care surgery fellows participate in the particular program in Colombia with Dr. Gracias and I, as well as a complete team from trauma. The surgeries are on people with certain injuries, gunshot wounds or stab wounds. Not only are they able to perform surgeries that are unlike surgeries in the United States, fellows are also developing certain competencies that would allow them to be better in relationship building with international partners.
For the past 6 years, I've taken between 10 and 12 students to Oaxaca. I teach them about medical anthropology. They work in community health settings. They learn Spanish with a medical focus.
And these global health exchanges can take the form of on-campus programs like the annual Global Health Fair.
When our students choose to go abroad, they would also contribute a poster presentation for our December annual Global Health Fair.
Some global programs initiate an exchange of ideas across geographical boundaries.
Within the School of Health Professions, there are graduate programs online, and we attract dietitians who may be stationed outside the United States. We are just now entering into an agreement to do a series of webinars all over the world.
Nurses have never really been the leaders for research. We got a small grant from Gaia that really helped us launch this Nursing Research Collaborative, where we invited nurses throughout the globe, and they were able to work with some of the Rutgers nurse scientists to develop questions that would be pertinent not only for the nurses in the specific countries, but also for nurses here in the U.S., because really local is global.
As global health awareness grows, RBHS has a definite advantage.
When we look at how we do an international program, I think of it as a vascular system, that you start it and it keeps going deeper and deeper in. You've left an enduring environment there to continue to learn from.
And this commitment to a multidisciplinary approach to global health is Rutgers-wide.
Global health is not a new initiative for the School of Nursing in Camden. We think that we're role models for the campus in terms of really looking at a healthcare problem from multiple perspectives, not just looking at it from disease. It's not just disease, it's about health education, it's about preventing the disease.
Dr. Strom, you're the Chancellor of Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, or RBHS. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
So can you tell us how exactly global health concerns are the same and how they're different across the world?
Yeah, global health, by definition, is health in the world. It's the health of populations across the world. Part of that are things that affect large numbers of people. Part of that are things that are access to care and wanting to give people access to care. It affects people in the developing world. It affects people in the developed world as well. We really moved away from the term global health. Moved away from the term international health. Moved toward the term global health.
So you said it affects people in the developed world as well. How does it affect us here in New Jersey?
Well, it affects us enormously. So, a classic use of global health is infectious disease. And obviously, as we look at Zika, which was just discovered in elsewhere in the world, a major issue for the Olympics now in Rio, has just spread to Florida. We expect it will emerge up the rest of the coast, up to New Jersey. But the global health is also broader than that. It used to be that it was primarily infectious disease. Nowadays, more and more global health focus on chronic disease. So in the same way as our major causes of death are cancer and heart disease, in much of the developing world, the same causes, the same diseases are major causes.
So from an academic and clinical practice perspective, how can we champion for global health here at home?
Well, we are enormously interested in global health and RBHS. We have just hired a superstar who we stole from Harvard to be head of global health. He's done a lot of work in Africa. We hope to have a lot of students involved. We hope to have a lot of faculty doing a lot of research involved. There is a lot of that, in fact, already underway. Almost every one of my schools has a Center for Global Health. His job is really to tie it all together and to raise the visibility of Rutgers worldwide dealing with these questions.
So as global health crises arise, how is RBHS uniquely positioned to respond?
we're really uniquely positioned in a number of ways. We're very large. We have a lot of talent across many fields. And Rutgers in general is as well. So thinking about the Zika epidemic, for example, Rutgers has specialists in mosquito control that are not part of RBHS, who are a key part of it. On the other hand, RBHS has experts in infectious diseases. We have experts in chronic disease, meaning things like heart disease. Cigarette smoking causes heart disease. We have huge experts in cigarette smoking. As the epidemic of smoking decreases in the US, it's increasing in other countries. And we can help to change the way people smoke in the rest of the world.
Well, thank you so much for working for global health for all of us.
Sure. Very much my pleasure.
That concludes this episode of our program.
Please join us next time for another look at Rutgers around the world, where we'll explore Rutgers relationships in Africa. I'm Bruno Ferreira.
And I'm Gabriela Milian. Thanks for watching.